Hello and welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. And I'm welcoming you to maybe another view. You can definitely now see both my hands and a little bit of my upper body, which is, I think, totally great because I'm actually not sitting quite in my fucking screen. But yeah, I hope this makes it maybe a little bit maybe interesting, maybe better, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm feeling more comfortable when my fucking back and neck doesn't hurt all the fucking time because I'm just, do you know what the feeling is like when you're just sitting in the first fucking row in the cinema? It was quite this certain thing. Because I actually was quite, in my fucking screen, not in front of it, but quite in it. But yeah, I think you can already see in the background a book, and it is Linchpin by Seth Godin. I pretty much love Seth Godin. I do think he's just an incredible guy with an incredible worldview and with a lot of worldviews. And I do think his worldview is just something that's quite new in this era or in this just time, I would say, because it's nothing you can see often and it's definitely something that he's going against the grain. I do just have to look it up. What actually it has great reviews on Amazon actually, and it's quite great. Yeah, even though seems to be quite great. But still, I really love just Seth Godin. Maybe I love his style, maybe I'll just love his personality. I would totally invite you to go through a few interviews of him with, a lot of people. He is definitely a great load of experience and just a great worldview, as I said quite 100 times right now. But, as you can see, it is Linchpin, and we're actually going to go through this one. It is quite a long one, so I do think we will stick with it for quite a long time. I just looked at a few books, a few shorter ones, but I wasn't quite sure if I actually should take them. One of them was As a Man Thinketh, and the other one actually was, what was it? Yeah, the Straight Line Persuasion from Jordan Belfort, which is actually something that I'm quite interested in, but I do think I'm going to go through it in my leisure time, maybe. Because I don't know, I want to shift it a little bit more to the self-development, self-help topic again a little bit, and not just going a little bit too much into the whole, psychology definitely fits for me in this certain area, but I do not want to go too much into sales and, whatsoever. Maybe I will do it later on, maybe I will do it after this one, and maybe after or besides this one actually. This could actually work. This could actually work quite fine. But yeah. So Linchpin by Seth Godin, the summary and review in the PDF format. So this is actually a business and economics book in terms of the genre, and it was released in 2010 and has only 256 pages and a 4-star out of 5-star rating on this certain website. And I'm currently actually on the powermoves.com website, which is a totally great website. Just really check it out. There are just a lot of great book summaries, just a really great lot of, I think actually, this is actually the site with the most free book summaries you can find on the internet, and it's definitely just amazing. So have you ever been struggling with a job you don't really love, dreaming about a big change, but actually you've done little? Linchpin is just a proverbial kick in the butt to get you going. Not only Linchpin delivers an amazing mindset for you, do art and ship it rather than fitting in the system, but it does so with inspiring and masterfully crafted prose. I do actually think this is quite one of the things that I was just meaning, or I just meant, where I just before was talking about, okay, he's actually going against the grain. Because he actually says you should do art and ship it rather than fitting in the system. Which kind of for me really sounds like, hey, you're just doing your shit and it will just find its customers. I'm quite doing it right now, but I do still know that he's just meaning it this way. He's just actually meaning like, okay, you should produce to someone just needs your product, and then it just totally is for sure that they will need it and they will use it. For example, these pets, people who have pets, and they may have a certain problem. Maybe the food isn't healthy enough, or maybe the food doesn't have a certain flavor, let's say a cinnamon flavor. Then you're putting out a product that has this certain cinnamon flavor that everybody wants, then people will buy it. And the thing is, it doesn't even have to be that great, I would say, because especially the thing is, which is quite a funny thing and which is quite a, is it a marketer joke or is it a marketer just, I think you will definitely just, see it and, go through it or read it if you're just a little bit interested in marketing and just this certain area, that actually people buy dog food and general food for pets that's very, very expensive. But the thing is, and there's standing on it like, with salmon and with cinnamon and with, I don't know, any herbs and, with a lot of great exotic things. But has one fucking owner of the pets ever tried one of the food? And does he or she even know if this is actually just tasting good? And nobody does. And this is the thing. This is the actual funny thing. But because still these people just spend a lot of fucking money on just dog food, even though they just don't fucking know if it's tasting better or not. I do still think that if you're just knowing your pet, you can definitely be like, okay, this is food he or she might actually like or not. So yeah. And I do just before was a little bit fucked up because I felt like I've been going through this one already, but I do not think so. So I hope it's going to be good. So the exact summary, is it exact summary or is it executive summary? Whatever. So be damned those jobs that clip your wings. We require our art and genuine and genius in this world. Your lizard brain wants to keep you safe. Be aware of it and learn to overpower it, or you will be stuck in a wheel forever. This is actually true. We do have just a really, really crazy brain, and it isn't adapted to where we are right now. To some certain degree, our whole body definitely is just somehow adapted to what life is at the moment, but not fully, I would say. There are a lot of things like fear that's quite unnecessary nowadays. Sometimes you just, need to have fear because but most of the time, if you're feared of maybe speaking in front of people, or if you're feared of being like alone, or if you're feared of being like whatever, and this is just something your brain tells you, which is total bullshit. Total bullshit. And I do not know why I don't know why our brain didn't adapt to it. Maybe there is nothing to adapt to. Maybe this is just our fears, and this is just the exact same thing as being feared of a predator, just 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700 years ago. It could totally be the exact same thing. And the last thing is real artists ship, which means they just distribute, which means that if you're just producing something like a drawing, like the video that I'm doing right now, which also can be just thought about like art, if I'm not shipping it, if I'm not distributing it, it seems to be not art, or I seem not to be a real artist. But a full summary. Seth Godin doesn't mince words in flattering us right off the bat. You are a genius, he says. Chances are you have something great to share with the world, but society squeezes the genius out of you. Your fear of letting go and do art comes from two places. Stems. I just thought about like, okay, is this actually a real word? Is this something like a typing mistake or whatever? But your fear of letting go and do art stems from two places. The first one is you have been brainwashed into believing that your job is to follow instructions. Hint, it's definitely not. And this is definitely something that I never ever do. If I'm getting instructions, if I'm getting rules, I'm always looking for a way that I can somehow going around the wall, going around the house, and just going into another entrance. Not like following the rules, but just getting a way that is more easier for me and that's better for me, and it's just working better for me. And I do not know, there are just a lot of people who still just are just, they are just doing what the rules say, whether it's not going over the street when the light is red, which is something I do, because when I'm seeing that there's nobody coming, like a car, why shouldn't I? I don't quite get it, but I do understand the people who just, do what they should be doing, or they are meant to do, and what the instructions say they should do. But I do have a real big problem with just just having rules. I would say I'm quite always searching for ways to, go around them and just doing something else or doing it in a different way. And the second one is the resistance, your lizard brain, is the voice keeping you safe and average. So safe and average. I think this is totally true. Linchpin is about removing those obstacles. Chapter 1, the new world of work. The world has changed, and the previous generations of the Industrial Revolution could have kept their head down, followed orders, and in exchange, they would have got a stable life or mortgage and a car. The goal for the capitalists was to have as many easily replicable laborers as possible. Michael Gerber recommends you do so. But the con game is finally ending, and there is new bargain. So the capitalists and also the industrialists, yeah, quite. But I think the capitalists, and it totally makes sense, they all have jobs that everybody could be done. And I don't think that's just what they mean, but they just want to have that everybody could do. Like in McDonald's, every single task they have to do can be done by quite every single person. And why they are doing this is because they pretty much have unlimited work power or work energy, because every single person quite can do it. Every single adult, let's say adult, can do it. And therefore just, it is quite a great system for the company and for the capitalist and for those people. For the work itself, it's not that quite good having a job in McDonald's where you just do the same exact movement, the same exact thing all the fucking time. I wouldn't like to do it. I'm just like, I'm way too creative, I would say. But yeah. But the con game is finally ending, and there is a new bargain now, one that leverages talent and creativity. Today, $3,000, laptop and internet buys you an entire factory of output. The factories are our mind, and access to capital and the ability to find partners are no longer a problem. This is actually true. Sorry for actually not showing you. I'm here. Like today, $3,000 and blah, 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 blah. This is actually true. And I think it's just amazing that you do just need a laptop and internet, and you can basically just, start your first business. Whether it's a t-shirt business, whether it's a consulting business, actually, you just have to learn something for sure, but then you can probably just have a consulting business as well. So why not? So there are quite a great few ways you can just start with a laptop and just internet. But people don't use this energy and these opportunities we're having right now. This is what I feel like. People actually feel like, I don't know what they're feeling. I fortunately understood through Gary Vee actually that we have an opportunity, and that the opportunity we're having is great. And a lot of people have access to a laptop and internet, or at least maybe a smartphone. You can also use your smartphone to just put out daily vlogs, which is definitely something a lot of people like, or make your photos and your posts and whatsoever. This is also working on your phones right now. So all this technological stuff just really, put up its game, and you're pretty much able to do quite anything on your phone. And also with the capital, which is actually the thing that I actually wanted to start with. This is true. There is crowdfunding. There are several sites you can get money from investors. It is just great, I would say, for those people who are having a great idea that they can just actually, somehow turn to reality if they would have the money. And getting the money isn't a problem right now. Ended today's third Third player, the linchpins. Linchpins are not pros waiting for instructions, nor are they industry barons, but they leverage something internal to create value. And they are artists who can find new answers, new connections, or a new way of doing things. And there's actually, I do hope you can see it, but I can actually do it like this. So if you've got something to say it and think well of yourself while you learn to say it better. Yeah, makes sense somehow. Sorry. Chapter 2, thinking about your choice. The new American dream that is being embraced all over the world is this: be remarkable, be generous, create art, make judgment calls, and connect people and ideas. I do not quite understand what he means by make judgment calls, but anything that's somehow correlated to judgment is something I immediately wouldn't suggest to you, because judgment is just a waste of time. Judgment is just bullshit, at my point of view at least. I don't like it. I don't know. It's just something I would say, please don't do it. Please just let it be it, and, don't judge the people and don't judge yourself. Because why would you? You know nothing about all the people, so why would you judge them? There may be a reason why he is wearing these clothes. There may be a reason why this certain girl is having red hair and, you don't like it, or green hair, something that's more like more like extraordinary. But yeah, so there are quite a lot of factors why people behave in a certain way they are behaving. So why would you judge? And why would you also judge yourself? Just if you've done a mistake, it's totally okay. You can totally just somehow, prevent yourself from doing it again. And if it's something really bad, you do just have to have something like, maybe you're getting sued or something else if it's really just fucked up. And if you are an employer, obedient and artistic are antithetic. If you're looking for obedient employees, you will never employ artists. Chapter 4, becoming the linchpin. Run towards fears. Fear. Linchpins do feel the fear, acknowledge it, and then proceed anyway. Seth Godin says he can't tell you how to do it, but it's prerequisite for success. And I think that's totally true, because fear, as I was just telling you about fear beforehand, fear is something we practically do not need right now. In some certain areas, in some certain ways, in some certain situations, we definitely need fear, and it's definitely great to have fear. But most of the time, if it's in terms of actually writing this email, just talking to the certain person, just trying this new clothes out because you just like it and it's just expressing yourself in a very good way, but you're so concerned about what the other people are telling about you, and you're so feared about it that you're actually not doing it, don't do that. But I pretty much know what he means, and something that quite helped me with actually doing something that I initially am feared of, and things that I'm actually not quite used to, and that's quite new for me, is actually counting up to 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then doing it. Maybe we'll have to do it for some really small things beforehand, so that you just prime your head and just, getting this mindset of, okay, when I'm saying 1, 2, 3, I'm actually going to do it. So not like starting with, okay, 1, 2, 3, and I will bungee fucking jump. But maybe you could actually do it because it's safe most of the time, and hopefully if you're doing it, and it's also a great thing and so on. But also, if you're just doing something small, I think you should I always think about starting it right now, starting with what you want to do right now. So actually, why don't you just, go right into it and do what you actually want to do? If it's just getting a new partner for your business, or just getting a new employee, or just being employed, or whatever, go for it. Do not be feared, go for it. 1, 2, 3, and go for it. Knowledge is like opinions. Linchpins are not just knowledgeable. Knowledge is worth little in the age of Google. Depth of knowledge with insight instead is worth a lot. The linchpin can walk into chaos and create order, invent, connect, and make things happen. And the thing about, okay, actual knowledge isn't worth like anything in the age of Google is somehow true, even though I quite do not want to realize it to some point, to some degree actually. Because it sounds so different. Maybe it's because I just know what it was like without Google, and it wasn't just something that I just grew up with. I really didn't, this. Well, I did. I quite did. Yeah, I'm sorry, I did quite, I think. But maybe not the Web 2.0. But yeah, never mind. Yeah, makes sense. You can Google just everything. So there is quite no need for actually knowing dates or knowing why something is like something. But I do also think that having the knowledge and having, or just knowing what you're talking about, or just having a broad knowledge in a certain area is relevant for actually going in depth of it, because you do just have to have the context and you have to have the basics maybe. And yeah. And I do think that having the depth of knowledge is especially important because you can't Google it that easily. If you're really searching for something like, I don't know, the first human being, what shit, maybe you can actually find it. It's just something very deep, just really fucking deep. Like, what was the first human being with tattoos that actually also was only eating vegan shit? Maybe there is something like this, and I think you probably won't be able to just Google it, because Google will just give you something that's total shit. And also, it's the exact same thing with all the doctors out there. You can probably just Google what you're having or you will be having, but they just having the context and the depth of knowledge that they can actually say, okay, you're having this and that, and this is because of this and that, and actually some kind of cure you, hopefully. The limit is the asymptote. Asymptotic is anything with a ceiling and upper limit. Bowling is asymptotic because there is a fixed ceiling, the number of pins. Six Sigma approach is similar. There is an upper limit. Organizations and people achieving dramatic success do so in fields without asymptotes. Dramatic success to do so in fields without asymptotes. I do just feel like, there is definitely, a person that is doing bowling as a profession and is making quite a lot of money with it. So, I don't know. So if you can't be remarkable, probably you should do nothing until you can. Well, and remarkable isn't remarkable. I know what it means, but I'm quite thinking about remarkable. Yeah, they say worthy of attention, striking, like nothing before, isn't it? Just something that's completely new, completely astonishing. But yeah, don't get a CV. You are not your CV with it, which is I don't know. I know what it is, but I do not know what this shortcut stands for. So you are your work, and the only way to prove you are a linchpin, someone worth moving to the top of the pile and worth hiring, is to show and not to tell. And if they can get your point, the linchpin says, I don't want a job a non-linchpin could get. So remarkable people deserve remarkable jobs. If the game is designed for you to lose, don't play the game. Play a different one. So if the game is designed for you to lose, don't play the game. Does it actually mean not doing something you're not good at? Is this actually the case? Because if you're just doing something you're not good at or trying to be the best and whatever you're not good at, it is quite designed for you to only lose and to only fail somehow. Even though failing is only something great, do not get me wrong, there's a whole lot of people just think about failure as something negative. But to be really honest, I'm quite happy that we have all these social media platforms and the internet, because I do think I wouldn't have the mindset and I wouldn't have the thinking that I'm having right now. And sorry, I just wanted to what is it actually called? If you should tell somebody bless you, the action before. This was just a very, 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 I quite was on the edge. But, so does this actually mean that you shouldn't do something that you're actually not good at because it would just take way too much time to actually do something? But what I actually want to say was that I'm quite happy that we have the internet and social media and all these self-development and motivational speakers, first of all, and pages and people and whatsoever, because I think that without these new media and without these channels, we wouldn't quite be able to, we would have never been able to just spread this message so quickly and to quite everybody who's quite interested in it. I'm interested in it, and so therefore I'm just knowing a lot about this certain area and a lot about what's maybe going inside your head, and maybe what's a great mindset looking like and what you should look out for and all these things. And a lot of people don't. And I do see the thing that a lot of people who weren't growing up with the internet do not have it as well. So the older ones, it totally depends on where they're living, what parents they had, what opinions they had, and what circumstances they grew up, and such a lot of things, Yeah. If a negative circumstances, positive ones, I don't know, that's quite, yeah. So chapter 5, I should. Chapter 5, is it possible to do hard work in a cubicle? What is a cubicle? A small partitioned off area of a room, for example, one containing a shower or toilet or a desk in an office. So is it possible to do hard work in a cubicle? I don't know what he's just going for. So Seth Godin says that if everything you do, it's possible to be an artist. And I think it's actually also possible to be great at and to be successful within. I don't know, it's quite hard to think about something you cannot be successful by doing it. Especially through the internet and through all the possibilities we are quite having right now. Or at the moment, or however you're thinking about it. But what is art? Art requires an element of risk and daring. If it's risk-free, it's usually not art. And a certain complexity, your art is what you do when no one can tell you exactly how to do it. The last element that defines art is the gift. You can't do it just for money. It's quite like you're giving away to people. You just think about like a bigger motive, not only about the money, but also quite about, okay, I want to do good for all the people outside there, or something like this maybe. Salaried work. He says he hates the approach to life as it cheapens us. First, he asks, are you willing to sell yourself so cheaply? Do you want to swap an entire irreplaceable day of your life for a few bucks? When you sell yourself for money, you're not the artist you could be. And second, it is a cold mathematical transaction with no added value. I give you money and you give me time. At the end of the day, there is no bond, and you are owed nothing. You are owed nothing, and I owe you nothing. The alternative is to use the day as your chance to do art, not available to anyone merely because he is the highest bidder. Yeah. I do get his point somehow, and I do just know his opinion, but I do also have to say that you just have to start somewhere, and a lot of people just have to start with working for the salary. And I think this is also quite good, because it's actually giving you the perspective of actually working on something you might not like, or in a system that you might not like. Even though I have to say that, if I'm working as a graphic designer, I'm still just doing my art. And I'm still just doing what I would just do if I'm here right now. It's just another context and quite another context. Yeah, definitely. Who is your boss? The artist is supposed to change us, but when you have a boss, too often your job is to please the boss rather than changing him or her or the people around you. Even though I do really have to say that this doesn't make any fucking sense, because if the only goal is to just really please the boss, what about the customers then? And what about the other people? Just really, what about the customers? It should only be about the customers and not about the boss and not about the person that is actually making the content or making a certain piece of art or whatever you want to call it. Because if you're really producing for the boss might like it, but actually the customer doesn't like it. And so therefore, the whole advertisement, if it's advertisement, is totally fucked and it's not working. And if you're just doing it for yourself, if you're just designing it for yourself, you're also just doing it for you. And this also might be like, okay, the target audience also might not be pretty interested in what you have to say. It is okay to have someone you work for, and it is okay having someone watching over you and paying you. But the moment you treat that person like a boss in charge of your choices and output, then you're not an artist, you are a cog. And what is a cog? Wow, that's actually a wheel or a bar with a series of projections on its edge, which transfers motion by engaging with projections on another wheel or bar, the cog and spring of a watch. Oh, I think I get it somehow. But yeah, this is actually it with this episode. And I do really hope that you get something out of it. I do think that this is going to be quite a great book and quite an interesting one and quite one that I think like, okay, there's something in it for a lot of people. And yeah, I hope you get the best health, wealth, happiness, and success, and especially happiness. And do not forget to think about giving back to the people and about how you want to be remembered at the end of your life. And so what's your legacy, or what your legacy should be looking like. And with that being said, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you have watched the other episode, or you will watch the other episode. And I'll see you the next time.